Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Shocking new allegations about greyhounds injured and infested with parasites have been made against a well-known Tasmanian trainer. Animal welfare groups calling for an end to the racing industry and for trainers to be held to account.
Anthony Bullock in the spotlight once again. New allegations since his return to the track in January.
Within a few months of returning to the track, we have dogs with parasites, we have dogs who are dead, we have dogs who are injured, and it cannot continue unchecked.
The trainer had a lifetime ban for allegedly using an animal part as bait overturned after arguing he didn't know it was on his property.
That it's all about profit. And animal welfare, again, takes a back seat.
Animal Liberation Tasmania collating new data. The Office of Racing Integrity among its sources.
They were happy to tell us that a companion dog had been involved in killing outright, and they did tell us about Duana Speed dying with a broken back.
The Office of Racing Integrity investigated each incident, finding 3 dogs were affected by parasites. The Greens now calling for an action plan and for the industry to be scratched, despite Tas Racing arguing it's committed to animal welfare and the industry supports the economy.
Where we raise these issues publicly, we take them into Parliament, we challenge the Office of Racing Integrity.
What we are doing is progressing legislation as we speak to make the racing industry better.
Bullock's presence on the track remains strong. Tomorrow, 13 dogs will compete under his name across 6 races here in Hobart alone. He was contacted for comment. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian students are more likely to feel lonely and drop out of school before Year 12 compared to their interstate counterparts, according to worrying new data. It's fueled calls for an education review over fears poor outcomes are now entrenched.
Tasmania's flunked another test.
When it comes to things like Year 12 attainment rates, we're actually going backwards.
The latest report on government services puts our state at the bottom of the pile. Only 69% of Year 10 students go on to complete Year 12, worse than every other state and nearly 10% lower than the national average. Tasmanian students also reporting poorly on a range of engagement indicators, feeling awkward, lonely, or like they don't belong, or finding it harder to make friends.
This Liberal government has lent really hard into making sure that every Tasmanian student has the capacity and the opportunity to complete Years 11 and 12.
Pointing to other measures not captured by the study, like vocational education. It follows mounting calls for an independent review of Tasmania's education system.
The problem is that we are spending substantially more money per student than anywhere else in the country except the Northern Territory, and yet we're getting worse results.
We don't have all the answers, but I know there are a lot of people in Tasmania that want to take part in a review. The business community, education experts, teachers.
Opposed by the Educators Union, who say more money's the answer. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Port Sorell nursing home evacuated due to a suspected gas leak is confident the cause has been identified after emergency services returned to Rubicon Grove last night. Staff noticed the smell for a second time around 7 p.m, although residents didn't need to be evacuated again. The company says the source has been isolated to an electronics room. Some of the 15 staff hospitalised from yesterday's leak have returned to work. The latest round of EMRS polling has provided a reality check for new Labor leader Dean Winter, trailing Jeremy Rockcliffe as preferred Premier by 8 points. His approval rating also 6% lower than former leader Rebecca White. The Liberals' first preference vote has dropped 2 points from the state election, sitting at 35%, 11 ahead of Labor. 15% chose the Greens, with 12% supporting an independent and 7 the Jackie Lambie network. Limited access to childcare is letting down Tasmanian workers and businesses. Employees squeezed out of the workforce as a new report finds we trail the nation when it comes to catering for working parents.
Bianca Welsh has her hands full running Launceston's Stillwater restaurant. Even more so with 10-month-old Rani, a little too young to help behind the bar, and on waiting lists at 7 different childcare centres.
All the daycares have said that just the wait list is very, very long. The toll it takes for us to try to run our business and to try to get what we need to get done is really, really challenging.
It also adds to the challenge of finding staff. Many can't work the hours required in the hospitality industry, unable to find childcare.
It's really hard to balance what a person needs and the business needs, and then when customers are coming through the door, to not have a waiter or a chef to be able to cook and serve them.
The issue extends well beyond this restaurant. Of the Tasmanians who aren't in work, more than 38% say it's because they can't access childcare. That's 10% higher than the national average.
With young families, if they can't get childcare, then they can't work. And that's very difficult for our businesses, particularly the owner-operated businesses.
One of the reasons Tasmania leads the nation in underemployment.
It's another area of where I think the Labor federal government isn't giving Tasmania a good deal, and we want people out there getting to work.
I think it's time for the state to take responsibility in this way. One of the first things they can do is start talking to schools about taking a bigger role in before and after school care.
There's no magic solution, but businesses say the state can't thrive without improvement.
We need the best carers, the best educators available, and we need centres to be open and operating.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania will be recycling more tyres than it's using in just a matter of years, with a $1.2 million grant awarded to Bridgewater's tyre cycle facility to create fuel chips from the material.
A fossil fuel replacement for high carbon or high energy users within Tasmania. So it's a really good news story.
Currently, the situation is that tyres are shredded once here at this facility, but then they would be sent to Melbourne or the mainland for further reprocessing.
650,000 car tyres are collected each year in the state. Tasmanians are encouraged to dig deep and donate for the Officeworks Make a Difference appeal, with funds going back into a local charity helping to continue its mission to break down stigma and normalise mental health conversations.
A small gesture with a big impact.
So the Make a Difference appeal starts on June the 1st and we're inviting our customers to come and join us in store and make a donation.
With all funds going towards local charities Speak Up, Stay Chatty, helping them to continue their mission, encouraging Tasmanians to have conversations about mental health and delivering educational sessions across schools, sporting clubs and workplaces.
The dollar side of it is really important these days for us to be able to continue our work and to raise awareness to mental health, which is obviously a really important societal issue.
Every dollar counting, with donations especially vital for helping the charity provide mental health resources for young children to take home.
For them to take that and further that conversation home with resource packs to have conversations with parents and their guardians is really important as well.
It's about making a difference for children to learn, create and play.
Over a decade of service and supporting 65,000 Tasmanians, the charity is hopeful its impact can stay alive.
11 years on, you certainly go through stages and waves of are we still relevant and do people still care about us?
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
It's surely a nervous evening for Northwest footballer Geordie Payne, who's waiting to see if he'll get snapped up by an AFL club in tonight's mid-season draft. Geordie's been having a standout season in the Talent League after missing out on selection in November's draft. He shouldn't be too worried though, widely tipped to go fairly early and could join fellow Tasmanian Colby McKercher at North Melbourne, who have the first pick. Tonight's draftees are eligible to play as soon as this weekend. A move to Australia was an easy choice for the newest Jackies recruit. Craig Sword, who's been in the NBA G League, has been keenly following the NBL for years. And when he was approached by Tasmania, there were a few things about the club that stood out to him.
Like I said, I've been watching and just seeing how crazy the fans are, just the atmosphere. I'm just ready to be a part of that.
Sword's also keen to be on the right side of Milton Doyle after playing against him in the States.
I love the way he scores, the way he just picked the game apart. That's going to be the greatest thing ever, man, for me to play with Doyle. And also Jordan as well. I play against Jordan a lot as well.
His nickname's been Chicken ever since he was born 2 months premature. His uncle saying they could hold him like a chicken. He's tiny no longer though, at 1.9 metres tall. It's a local derby in the NBL 1 this weekend. The Chargers host the Thunder, feeling on top of the world after 2 wins on the road without star import Terrell Brown. He's expected to be fit in time for Saturday night.
No better time than the local derby. This can really set us apart and get us into that top 4 and really make a run towards the playoffs.
They got us, obviously, the last time we played them. Granted, we didn't have everybody, but feeling really good about this time around and looking to go 9-5 at the end of this weekend, man.
The Tawns are out for revenge after losing to the Chargers in round 1, but without their imports, both sides needing to bounce back after a tough trip away.
You know, one win can kind of keep you in finals, keep you out of finals. We saw that a few years ago, so we've got to get every win that we can.
That doubleheader is 6 p.m. Saturday in Newtown. One of Queensland's rising cricket stars is making a more permanent move south. She's already been playing for the Hurricanes, but Ruth Johnston will join the Tigers squad in the WNCL after signing a 2-year deal. Means a switch to the winning side, the all-rounder playing for Queensland Fire against the Tigers in their 3-peat final win.
I'm well known for my power hitting, so I'm hoping I can bring that aspect into the team, and as well as my off spin, just another spin option for the group.
The Hurricanes get back to training next month. Hard to believe it's almost cricket season again, Kim. Must be almost time to think about Christmas shopping.
I was going to say that. Thanks, Nick. Well, Kaya is with us tonight and joins us next with the weather forecast.
Good evening. Hobart 20 today, Launceston 18, Devonport and Burnie sharing a top of 17 degrees, with maximum temperatures generally 2 to 5 degrees above average. St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Groville 19, the Island, Smithton, Low Head, Bushy Park and Strawn 18, Maria Island 17 and 13 the maximum for Lyowini. Today we saw extensive high-level cloud across the eastern half of Tasmania. Isolated patches of low cloud are also seen about the north. A band of high-level cloud extends from the Pilbara region to the border of WA and South Australia, while high cloud dominates across the state. Tomorrow, a high-pressure centre will move near the New South Wales and Queensland border, extending a ridge over most of eastern Australia. North to northwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots in the northeast, grading up to 30 knots in the west and south, with swells increasing up to 4 metres. A severe weather warning has been issued this evening for the East Coast forecast districts. There is also a gale warning that's been issued for coastal waters between South East Cape around to Stanley, and also a strong wind warning between Stanley to South East Cape, and also for Storm Bay and the Southwest Lakes. Late showers towards the south tomorrow, Hobart, Cygnet and New Norfolk 19. Rain developing in Launceston 20, 19 for Devonport, showery in Campbelltown 17 there. Wet weather forecast for the west, 18 for both Burnie and Strawn. Smithton, windy, 17 also. Now those soggy conditions extend to the east, St Helens and Swansea 19, Fingal 18 degrees. Friday, persistent showers in the west and north with isolated showers elsewhere. Now they're likely to decrease during the late evening with possible thunderstorms flying up towards the west and far northeast. Saturday, light showers clearing from the west and south for the very first day of winter despite a morning inland frost. Sunday, fine with frost continuing. Here's what's happening further north tomorrow. 24 and sunny in Sydney, rain clearing in Adelaide 22, windy in Melbourne, and a cool 19 degrees on the way for Perth. Partly cloudy right now in Hobart, 16 degrees, mostly cloudy in Launceston with 12 and also 12 in Devonport. Kim, it looks as though we're in for an early taste of winter tomorrow, and sure enough, when Murph goes away, he always takes the weather with him.
That he does. We will need to get the raincoat out. Thank you, Kaya. That is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.